Namaste. Welcome. We're going to start by taking a very deep breath in. Fully exhaling. Noticing our sitting bones on the ground. Noticing our shoulders coming up with an inhale, coming down with the exhale. You're going to take a moment to be here, wherever you are. And now, whatever's happening, it is this moment. And today we're going to mindfully stretch our body using gravity to assist us in going deeper into each pose. We're going to start by putting both our palms on the ground in front of us and reaching comfortably far. You should feel some tension in your shoulder, but no discomfort. And once you feel you're there, let your body sink to the ground. Let your head sink in between your shoulders. And start breathing here. Noticing the whole back lengthening as you sink lower with each and every breath. We're going to spend a minute in this pose, and you can count a minute by taking at least 12 relaxed breaths. Do nothing here. Just watch what your body is doing. Notice everything. Reject nothing. No strain. No stress. I'm done with my 12 breaths. I'm going to slowly come up back into Sukhasana. And just because I was bending forward, I'm going to give my back a slight back bend. Just going to support myself with my hands to the back of me and look up so that my back remembers it can bend the other way. And from here, we're going to start putting our feet into the butterfly pose. Soles of the feet together. Pull your heels as close to your groin as you can. Keep your back erect. And just let your knees fold to the sides. Let's breathe here for several breaths. Feeling the hips opening. Doing nothing, just enjoying the ever so slight motion as the hips open wider. And what we're going to do now, we're going to lean forwards slightly and put our palms back on the ground and start sinking down low. Don't attempt to go into this bend too far too fast. That's not our objective. Just let your body naturally ease into the bend. Keep breathing and aim for at least 12 breaths. In here, feeling your shoulders sinking down, feeling your hips opening ever wider. Keep relaxing here. I'm done with my 12 breaths. I'm going to come up, put my legs back into Sukhasana, sitting cross-legged. I'm going to take a breath here. And I'm going to lean my body to the side, support myself with my elbow, and stretch my arm over my head. And here I'm not going to attempt to hold this in any way. I'm going to let my body sink down low again, feeling my whole top side of my body lengthening as I sink down low. And again, I'm going to spend 10 breaths here, or 12 breaths. Notice also that your breath is becoming more relaxed and slows down as you're allowing yourself to be motionless. As you're allowing your body to relax. I'm done with my 12 here. I'm going to come up, do it on the other side, shift my weight onto my other buttock, support myself with my elbow, and reach over my hand, and then start sinking lower and lower and lower. Notice that your hip on the side of your upper arm is also opening and rolling ever so gently. And I'm done with my 12 here as well. I'm gonna come right up. And I'm going to start moving out of my Sukhasana, keeping one of my legs bent, pulling my heel closer to the groin. And I'm going to extend my other leg, turn my torso toward that extended leg, and put my arms, my forearms parallel to that leg. And here again, my objective is to sink down. And I'm going to try to reach and grab my toes. I'm just going to sink down, getting on my forearms. Feeling my face coming closer and closer toward my knee. A good rule for any yoga pose is that you want to start by going just 20% into the pose. Don't attempt to plant your face into your knee right away. Flexibility is incremental. It comes little by little. And notice as you're holding this pose, how this little by little happens. With every exhale, you're sinking down lower. This is a very comforting pose. And I'm going to come up. If you have stiff shoulders, you might want to give them a shrug here. And then I'm going to keep my bent leg bent. I'm going to keep my straight leg straight, but I'm going to move my straight leg to the side and turn my whole body towards the bent leg and come on that knee into the pigeon pose. Find a good position for my palms and support myself here in the pigeon pose, just to give my back a very gentle back bend. Notice that your straight leg slowly sliding further and further away from you, that your back hip is gently opening. Keep breathing here, do your 12 breaths. Of course, you can stay longer in any pose if you find it particularly delicious. And from here, once we're done with our 12 breaths, we're going to make sure that we're well supported with our arms, because we are going to swing our body back, bend the back knee, and assisting ourselves with our hands. We're going to extend the front leg that was formerly bent. Here, we're going to be in a half monkey pose. And for the half monkey, to deepen the stretch, once you're settled in there, digging your front heel into the mat, what you can do, you can move your back knee slightly backwards so that the stretch is deepened. We're going to stay for 12 breaths here as well. Just keep breathing. Give yourself roughly a minute in the pose, or longer if you'd like. Notice that your front leg is opening, that it is as straight as an arrow. And then once you're done with your 12 breaths here, shift your body slightly to the front and bend your front leg to come into a deep lunge or the dragon pose. And we're gonna open our hips this way as well. There are ways of deepening the stretch here if you'd like. You can come into the dragon and then start sliding your front knee to the side, rolling your foot onto the outer sole so that your hip opens sideways. If you find this too intense or too challenging, stick with the regular dragon for now. And once you're done with your 12 breaths here, we're gonna deepen this by coming down on our forearms and just taking our 12 breaths here as well. That is a big, big hip opener. And don't worry if you're just starting, if it's challenging. You don't need to get all the way down on your forearms. You can just bend your elbows to sink lower. And again, notice the increments in which your hips are opening here with each and every breath. Each and every breath brings you down little by little. I'm done with my 12 here. I'm gonna come up back into the dragon first, and I'm gonna start turning my torso so that I'm standing on my formerly back knee, and my front leg I'm gonna extend sideways. I'm gonna support myself with my palms, and from here I'm gonna start by doing several rocking motions front to back. I'm doing this to open my hips in this direction as well. And I'm also looking to find a good position for my extended foot. For some people, a good position is on the heel. For some people, the good position is on the inner sole. Experiment with how to plant your foot into the mat just so that you feel comfortable. And notice that your bent knee is also sliding sideways as you're holding this, as you're doing the rocking motion. Opening your hips. And after several rounds of the rocking motion, I'm going to get down on my forearms again. And just spend my 12 breaths here. Again, notice the increments by which your flexibility increases here. Notice that your bent knee is still sliding away from you. Notice those small motions that your body is making. Notice the tiniest increments by which the length of your straight leg increases. And I'm done with my 12 here. I'm gonna come back onto my palms and I'm gonna get my straight leg close to my body, come to the tabletop. And in the tabletop, I'm gonna do a couple of rocking motions with my hips side to side so that the tension in my inner thigh muscles can go away. And once I'm done here, I'm going to move to the other end of my mat so that I can extend my other leg to the side. Again, I'm going to look for a good position for my extended foot, either on the inner sole or on the heel. Inner sole is more stable, but you know your hips better than I do. And I'm going to start by doing those rocking motions. Notice, see how my extended leg extends even further. And once I'm done with my rocking motions, I'm going to get down on my forearms and let my hips open with my breath, little by little. It's not even inch by inch. Just keep breathing. Notice your knees sliding further apart. People often comment that they're too inflexible to do yoga. That is so much not true. Patanjali never even mentions any kind of posture except the steady posture in his Yoga Sutras. So as long as your posture is steady, it should be good. Done with my 12 here. I'm gonna come up and with my legs still extended, I'm gonna start turning my torso toward my straight leg, roll it over onto the heel, and come into the half monkey. And I'm gonna stay in the half monkey for my 12 breaths. Again, noticing the incremental nature of the stretch. That's the beauty of yin yoga. It lets you do nothing for a moment while watching the ever so slight changes in the position of your body as your stretches deepen. And as you are focused on that, notice what your mind's doing. I'm done with my 12 here. I'm gonna roll my front foot from the heel onto the full sole, bending my front leg. I'm gonna come into the dragon, looking for a good position where my arms and hands are gonna be very supportive. And again, I'm gonna notice what is going on with my body. Feel yourself sinking deeper into the stretch, sinking deeper into the dragon. Oh, the dog's back. Hello. Hello, dog. Go back. Go back. The dog's back. And this is actually a great, great thing that keeps happening as I'm doing my classes here. Because things like that, distractions like that, force you to return to the point of your focus, which is again the incremental sinking down here, the incremental deepening of the stretch. Done with my 12. Going to get into the low flying dragon onto my forearms. Again, if you find it challenging, don't go all the way down on your forearms. Just bend your elbows and try to relax into the pose. Again, the low flying dragon is the king of hip openers. Just keep breathing here. And notice as you're focusing on your body, what's going on with your mind. Step back away from your mind a second and notice. Notice that your mind is almost silent. I'm going to come out of the low flying dragon because I'm done with my 12 breaths. And I'm going to swing my body back. And I'm going to start bending my front knee. And I'm going to come down into the pigeon with a little effort here. And I'm going to spend a moment settling down into the pigeon, letting my back leg slide so far away from me. And I'm going to stay in that pigeon. As you know, the goal of any balanced yoga practice is to take all the joints through the range of motion available to them. So, what we're doing here, we're taking our hips through their range of motion, letting them open every way they can. So, I'm going to spend my 12 breaths here. And as I'm focusing on the ever so slight motion of my back leg, I'm again going to switch the focus for a second onto what my mind's doing. And my mind is again so focused on what the body's doing right now. That the thoughts and emotions that normally occupy, they may still be there, but they sort of fade into the background. They're not as important, you're not as identified with them. Done with my 12 here. I'm gonna start swinging my body back so that I can come into the tabletop first. And from the tabletop, I'm gonna sit on my heels and take a breath. Sitting on my heels. In breath. That's what Patanjali says yoga is. It's chitta vritti nirodha, or the cessation of modifications of the mind. But it's simply being mindful, and yoga gives you a break from your thoughts. Even if the thoughts are still present, I'm going to start lifting my knees off the ground. I can support myself with my hands, or if I feel super balanced today, I can just put my hands onto my belly and keep breathing here. If you want to, you can make it a rocking motion, lifting and lowering your knees. You don't have to. You can just stay there in order to stretch your whole lower legs. You're going to need this for the next one. If you're doing any kind of mindfulness or meditation, you know that silencing your mind is actually impossible. The mind does what it does. I'm going to come out and move to the front of my mat so I have enough space behind me and start finding a good position for my knees. So you know that your mind is almost never completely silent. I'm going to lean back, support myself with my palms, fingers facing forward, and start lowering onto my elbows, one by one, side by side. Let your knees open up and look up. We're going to attempt to come into the reclined hero. This is a modification of the pose. For now, we just want to give our back a nice back bend. Looking up, keeping our neck relatively relaxed. And again, noticing that whatever's going on in your mind, whatever thoughts you have there, they're not as relevant because you're in your body right now. Feel those muscles in the front of your thighs. That's where your attention is. That's what yoga does for you. Gives you a break from the incessant chatter of your mind. Even though it never stops, I'm going to come into the fully reclined hero. By lowering my body onto the ground, I'll look up. And just keep breathing here. Again, noticing if I have a thought that's troublesome, it's a thought that's difficult, even if it's still there, it's not my focus anymore. I'm going to start coming out to the reclined hero by rolling onto my side, starting to extend my legs, and I'm going to come down onto my back. A couple of breaths here. And you probably noticed that we've done a lot with our hips, but not too much with our shoulders. So let's remedy that. For a balanced practice, you want to work your hip girdle and your shoulder girdle as well. So lying down on my back, I'm gonna let my arms open wide, palms up or palms down if it's more comfortable. And I'm gonna start coming into the torso twist, working my mid back. I'm gonna bend my right leg, swing my right foot over my left knee, turn my torso fully to the left, and turn my head to the right. And here we're not going to spend our 12 breaths because you're going to notice that what your body wants to do right now is to roll. Let it roll. Your body wants to come back to being fully on its back. It's a more stable pose for your body, so just let it do what it does. Consciously relax your lower half of the body and see the rolling motion happen naturally. Take as much time as you need to roll back. For some people, it happens very fast. For some people, it would take slightly longer, but there is a pivot point somewhere midway, after which the motion intensifies and you're just woo, and you're fully on your back. Take a breath here and keep that in memory, that rolling motion where your body wants to be, where it wants to be. And you let it. Let's do it on the other side. Straighten your bent leg. Bend to your formerly straight leg, which is the left one. Turn your body to the right, swaying the foot over the right knee. Look the opposite way. And again, try to consciously relax your lower half of the body to let your body come back into the center. Enjoy this rolling motion. As it happens, and once you're back onto both of your buttocks, just take a breath here, and we are going to keep working those shoulders and that upper back of ours by extending our arms over our head. Put your feet together and move both of your feet to the right. And now both of your arms to the right as well. Now you're a banana curving to the right. And we're going to spend 12 breaths here. Again, notice that your body does want to roll over fully on its back. Don't let it this time. It's just fun to vary the way you approach the pose. Sometimes you want to hold it, sometimes you don't. Let's hold this one for our 12 breaths. And again, with your mind's eye, trace your whole trunk from the bottom of your sacral region, from your lower belly, through your waist region, through your chest region, all the way toward your neck. Notice how long it has become on the side that's facing up right now. And notice that no matter what your effort is, your body is still rolling toward the center. Keep holding the pose, but also acknowledge that motion that your body wants to come back to the center. And I'm done with my 12. I'm going to align my feet, my legs, and my arms and hands on the center line for a moment. And then move both of my feet to the left and both of my arms to the left. Now we're a banana curving left. And again, we're going to enjoy the push and pull. Your will tells you to hold the pose. Your body wants to do something different. See if you can allow both things at the same time. See if you can acknowledge that sometimes there are contradictory forces at work. Notice your trunk lengthening again. You can experiment. You can pull your body toward the left on one breath and let it roll gently on the other breath. Just notice the forces that are affecting your body right now. Take that as a metaphor. And I'm done with my 12 here. And I'm going to keep working those shoulders. And I'm going to get up back to the tabletop. Find a good stable position for both my knees and my hands. And I'm going to do thread the needle. I'm going to shift some of my weight onto my left palm. Lift my right palm, turn the palm upward, and slide it under my left arm while lowering my body to the ground. You can keep your supporting arm straight, or you can keep it bent. It's not really material. But what you're doing right now, you're taking your shoulder across the center line of your body, which is not normally where it moves. How often do you have to grab your opposite elbow, right? So anyways, we're going to spend our 12 breaths here. Noticing that both of our shoulders are working right now, just in a very different way. Try to consciously relax your neck. Your head's probably going to slide over the mat. Let it. Just find a natural position for your head. Notice what's happening with your shoulder, the upper shoulder, being supported, the lower shoulder, allowed to relax. And as you're noticing what your body's doing, shift the focus of your attention again to what your mind's doing. Not much, right? It's hyper focused on the focus, which is your body right now. Done with my 12. I'm gonna slowly come up, do it on the other side, recheck my position for stability, shift some of my weight onto my right palm, lift my left hand, turn it palm upward, slide it under my left arm, turning my torso, and notice the shift. My relaxed shoulder is now asked to support. My supporting shoulder now asked to relax. And I'm going to keep breathing here for 12 breaths. Just noticing what's going on with my body, what's going on with my mind. And I'm going to notice if I'm the one who's noticing both my body and both my mind, then I can be none of those. I'm the one who notices. And that can allow me to hold both my body and my mind light. That would allow me to hold them with ease. Not get super identified with them. Coming up, I'm going to come back to the tabletop, and we have moved our shoulders sideways. We have moved them up. We have taken them across the center line. Now we're going to do another shoulder stretch. To ground that all, I'm going to start moving my buttocks close to the heels so I can sit on the heels, keeping my legs bent, my arms straight. And here, my objective is to come as close to the ground as possible. Notice how your shoulders are stretching. Notice how close your chest is to the ground. Notice how open your chest is. Your hips are also involved, as you can probably notice. But the focal point of this pose is the center of your chest, where your heart chakra is. And in a way, this is the answer to what we have been discussing today. Your heart, where your love lives. Whatever your mind's doing, whatever your body is doing. As long as that happens in the light of your core, in the light of love that is your core, it's all good. Focus all of your attention in the center of your chest. Imagine there is nothing else in the world except the center of your chest. It's easy in this pose. That's what the pose is for. Nothing else in the world except your love. And its light that washes over everything that you do. Take the sensation of love with you into Shavasana. Namaste, and thank you for doing the practice with me.